Welcome to AI Horror Stories where the past haunts the present. Imagine a mansion where whispers echo through dusty halls, revealing tragic tales of lost souls. A forest bathed in the crimson glow of a witch's moon where ancient powers awaken. And a colonial house, a stage for ghostly melodies where the echoes of yesterday refuse to fade. Tonight, we journey into these realms of mystery and terror. We'll explore abandoned mansions, delve into the depths of enchanted forests, and listen to the mournful songs of spirits trapped in time. Are you ready to confront the secrets that lie hidden in the shadows? Are you brave enough to hear the whispers of the forgotten? Subscribe and turn on notifications to join us on this journey into the unknown. First story: whispers in the abandoned mansion. In the heart of Blackwood Forest stood an abandoned mansion that everyone in the nearby town avoided. They said the mansion was cursed, home to vengeful spirits and inexplicable phenomena. However, for a group of friends eager for adventure and mysteries, the mansion represented the ultimate challenge. One autumn night, they decided to explore the mansion, armed with flashlights, cameras, and a mix of bravery and fear. The front door creaked open as if the house itself was inviting them in. The hallways were covered in dust, and portraits of former inhabitants watched from the walls with gazes that seemed to follow every movement. As they progressed, the friends began to experience strange events. Doors that closed by themselves, whispers that seemed to come from nowhere, and shadows that moved in the corner of his eyes. They tried to convince themselves that they were just tricks of their imagination, but a feeling of unease took over them. The real terror broke out when they reached the library. Books began to fall from the shelves on their own, and sinister laughter echoed through the room. Suddenly, the door slammed shut, leaving them trapped. At that moment, they realized that they were not alone. An ethereal figure appeared in front of them, the apparition of a woman dressed in clothing from another era. His face was a mixture of sadness and fury, and his eyes shone with an unearthly light. The figure pointed towards one of the books on the floor, an old diary that revealed the tragic history of the mansion, a story of love, betrayal, and a curse that condemned its inhabitants to wander the house forever. Eternity. The friends, terrified but unable to look away, listened as the wind carried the whispers of those trapped in the mansion, asking to be freed from their torment. They knew they must find a way to break the curse, not only for their sake, but for the sake of the lost souls. Working together, they performed a ritual found in the diary, a ritual of forgiveness and liberation. As they recited the words, the mansion shook and a cold wind swept through the halls. The ethereal figure smiled sadly at them before fading away, and the feeling of oppression was lifted as if a great weight had been removed. As they left the mansion, the friends promised each other to never forget what they had experienced. Blackwood Mansion was no longer a place of terror, but a reminder that, behind every legend, there are stories of human beings with desires, loves, and mistakes. Since that night, the mansion was left in peace. The townspeople began to tell a new story, one of redemption and courage, thanks to a group of friends who dared to confront the whispers in the abandoned mansion. Second story: Crimson Moon Forest. On the outskirts of the town of Ravenhold stretched an ancient forest, known among the locals as the Crimson Moon Forest. It was said that during the nights when the moon was dyed red, witches from the forest emerged to perform their arcane rituals, connecting with ancient and mysterious powers that dwelt deep in the earth. Lilith, a young village girl with a secret interest in the occult arts, found herself irresistibly drawn to stories of witches and the power they could supposedly summon. One night, armed with nothing more than her curiosity and an old cloak to protect her from the cold, she ventured into the forest, determined to discover the truth. As she walked deeper into the forest, the air became colder and a thick fog was beginning to form, almost as if the forest itself was guiding her. Finally, she reached a clearing where the light of the crimson moon bathed everything in an unearthly glow. And there, in the center of the clearing, she saw the witches. Contrary to the stories of evil and darkness she had heard, the witches stood in a circle, hands held together, singing in a language that Lilith did not know. He knew, but that somehow resonated in the depths of his being. In the center of the circle, a cauldron bubbled, emitting flashes of light and shadow that danced among the trees. Moved by a force she did not understand, Lilith took a step forward, drawing the attention of witches. Instead of rejection, she found a welcome in their eyes, as if they had been waiting for her. One of them, the oldest, approached and offered her hand, inviting her to join the ritual. Lilith, without knowing exactly why, accepted. As she joined in the chant, she felt an unknown energy flow through her, connecting her to the forest, the stars, and the crimson moon itself. It was a feeling of power, but also belonging and understanding. The night ended with the witches sharing their knowledge with Lilith, revealing to her that true magic lay in the connection with the natural world and the ancient powers that balanced life and death, light and darkness. They taught him that magic was neither good nor bad, but a reflection of the heart of the one who practiced it. At dawn, Lilith returned to Ravenhold, changed forever. She kept the secret of what she had learned, but within her, the magic had awakened. She often returned to the forest, learning more from the witches and exploring the depths of her own power. The Crimson Moon Forest became her sanctuary, a place where she could truly be herself, free from the fears and prejudices of the people. And though he never shared his secret, he worked silently to protect Ravenhold, using his newfound knowledge to heal, protect, and, when necessary, guide those lost in the darkness to the light. Third story: Echoes of Yesterday. In the town of Thornfield stood an old colonial house known to all as the Hawthorne Mansion. Abandoned for decades, the mansion was the center of ghost stories and apparitions that had been part of local folklore for generations. The spirits of the Hawthorne family were said to still wander around their rooms, unable to leave the world of the living. Intrigued by these stories, Clara, a young paranormal researcher, decided to spend a night in the mansion with the aim of documenting any supernatural phenomenon. Equipped with cameras, sound recorders, and motion sensors, Clara entered the mansion on a new moon night when spectral activity was believed to be at its peak. The mansion, although in ruins, preserved a melancholic beauty. As Clara explored, she began to feel a presence, as if someone was watching her from the shadows. Soon, those feelings materialized into inexplicable events: barely audible whispers, footsteps on the upper floors, and the sound of piano music that seemed to come from nowhere. Following the echoes of the music, Clara arrived at a ballroom covered in dust, where the atmosphere was charged with deep sadness. There, before his eyes, the appearance of a woman appeared dressed in a period costume, playing the piano with an expression of deep pain. Clara, although overcome with fear, felt immense compassion for the spectral figure. Determining to communicate, Clara spoke out loud, asking about the woman's story. Through whispers and musical notes, the apparition revealed itself to be Elizabeth Hawthorne, the last descendant of the family, who had died of a broken heart after the loss of her great love under mysterious circumstances. Sir Clara spent the night at the mansion, listening to Elizabeth's story and documenting everything she could. At dawn, Elizabeth's apparition faded with a last chord, leaving behind an air of peace that had not been in the mansion for a long time. Moved by the experience, Clara spent the following months researching the story of Elizabeth and her lost love. Their efforts unearthed a tragic story of love, deception, and a family secret that had condemned the Hawthornes to remain bound to the mansion. With the truth finally revealed, Clara organized a ritual to release the spirits from Hawthorne Mansion. On the night of the ritual, the mansion is said to have glowed with an ethereal light, and laughter and music could be heard filling the air, as if the Hawthornes were celebrating their liberation. The Hawthorne Mansion, once a place of sadness and shadows, became a symbol of peace and closure, thanks to Clara and her determination to give a voice to those who had been forgotten. And although apparitions were never reported again, the inhabitants of Thornfield would always remember the history of Hawthorne Manor and the echoes of yesterday that Clara helped silence.